the most anything. As a reader, I happen to like those lists, the ones you find in Rolling Stone. The 100 greatest rock and roll songs, the 100 greatest guitar solos of all time, Dylan's 100 greatest hits. I do not rank the writing books, but I do appreciate them. Most of what you will read here is why I appreciate them, what I or others have learned from them, and what I think you, the reader, can take away and apply to your own work. As you will see, my appreciation is not without a critical edge. Any advice from John McPhee should come with the knowledge that he has been a privileged New Yorker writer with time and resources most of us can only dream about. Anne Lamott is way too hard on herself, running the risk of discouraging others. And, sad to say, Dorothea Brand, who wrote one of the most original writing guides of all time, turns out to have been, along with her editor hubby, a 1930s-style American fascist and anti-Semite. We teachers prefer our apples without bruises, but there you go. Before I compiled these books, I did some crowdsourcing. On social media, I asked writers for the names of writing guides that had informed or inspired them. Suggestions arrived by the dozens, many with authors and books I had read many times, but others with introductions to strangers I was glad to meet. All of those worthy candidates made my selection process harder. I began by listing books that were famous, popular, or influential. The Elements of Style by Strunk and White, Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg, Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, The New Journalism by Tom Wolfe. Among the 5 W's, who, what, where, when, and why is hardest to answer. I made it my mission to capture why such books matter. I wanted to include writing guides that were ancient and thus foundational, from Aristotle on the cathartic nature of tragedy to Quintilian on the influence of the spoken word. Such texts allow us to trace the long and powerful story of making meaning through reading, writing, and speaking, that is, through the essential acts of literacy. I could not avoid the temptation to include several books written by authors and teachers whom I know personally. A teacher at Oxford, where I spent a glorious summer, is called a Don, and many a great Don has passed by my writing room. Don Fry, Don Murray, Don Graves, Don Hall. I repay them when I can by passing along their knowledge. The writing world is cozy enough for me to have worked with Bill Zinsser, Bill Howarth, and Connie Hale, to name a few. I once interviewed Stephen King. I exchanged a letter with E.B. White. On a buffet line at a literary conference in Tucson, I got to meet Elmore Leonard and engaged him in a friendly argument about how many exclamation points are allowed in a text. His take was 1 for every 100,000 words. Unless you are Tom Wolfe, then the sky's the limit. I drop these names, not for me, but for you. When an author writes a good writing guide, the author is inviting you, in Frank Smith's good phrase, to join a club. You may aspire to become a writer, but after reading their work on writing, you can better identify as one, feeling part of a community, a tribe of scribes. How this book was written and how it is organized. Murder Your Darlings is divided into 6 parts. I did not draft the book that way. I wrote without a structural plan, selecting books off my shelves as the muse guided me. I built momentum by writing about the books I knew best, with some side trips along the way. I wrote about book after book, chapter by chapter, until the writing train crashed through the 75,000-word barrier and then through the 100,000-word frontier. I paused after drafting 50 chapters, with another 50 or so books nearby that I knew I wanted to write about. I panicked. Then, in my ear, I heard the voice of my writing coach, Donald Murray, with a tip I have passed along to countless other overwriters. Brevity comes from selection, and not